We're going to get started with our post-race press conferences for today's 58th Annual Daytona 500. We are now joined by our third-place finisher, Kyle Busch, the driver of the number 18 M&M 75 Toyota. Kyle, you and your teammates finished first, third, and fifth out there. Can you talk a little bit about the dominance of the Joe Gibbs Racing cars today?
I would just say it was more the willingness of working together than it was dominance of our race cars. Certainly, we did have good speed. The Joe Gibbs Racing guys at the shop did a great job. Toyota gave us some great horsepower under the hood, but you know, us working together, I think, was the biggest motivating factor of us being up front most of the day. So, great day for Joe Gibbs Racing. Really pumped for Joe to get back to victory lane here in the Daytona 500. It's been a long time coming, and you know, cool to see Denny score that victory and all of us to run up front like we did.
Great. We'll now open it up to questions. Please raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you and then state your name and affiliation when the microphone gets to you. Go ahead, George.
Hi, back here, Kyle. George Diaz, Orlando Sentinel. You talked over here, back to your left, I guess.
Got it.
You mentioned it, and so did Denny, about Denny mentioned about you guys talking last night about working together and coming up with a pretty definitive game plan. Can you elaborate on that a little bit, please?
No.
Thank you.
Go back here to the back.
Hey, Kyle. Doug Turnbull, WSB Radio. I heard Matt over and over saying again on the radio, let's wait till we get almost to the checkered flag or maybe the back straightaway before we break up the JGR posse, so to speak. And it seemed like Denny swung to the high line there, did that beforehand. Did you have any intent on trying to do it earlier than that, or were you trying to stick to what Kenseth was saying?
No, none of that was related to me. So pretty much I figured it was I figured it was 5 to go, that it was every man for himself. So I still stuck in line there and was trying to continue to, stay on the bottom. I didn't know if the outside was ever going to get going. They haven't in a long time throughout the day. And there were some things that were kind of transpiring on the bottom. And then once Denny jumped up, he just got such a huge boost from the 4. Once he did it, I swore I thought about doing it. And once I thought about doing it and didn't do it, it was too late. That was it. You can't think that long and not make the move at the same time. So I missed my opportunity, but that's racing. That's how it goes. And it was going to be got a little hectic there in 3 and 4. I wasn't sure we were all going to make it through there with as dicey as it kind of got. But congrats to Denny. He did a good job and got the win.
Go down the front to Stan.
Yeah, Kyle, Stan Creekmore with RPMTonight.com, if you will. How does it feel 1 year later to be in the race, finishing the race, and not be just watching the race?
I mean, it's good. It's definitely a lot better being in the race where I'm supposed to be rather than on the sidelines watching across the street. So, it's certainly 365 days later, this could have gone 2 spots better, and it would have been crazy to think of where we were, But we finished third. It's my greatest finish, my best finish in the Daytona 500 thus far. So we'll take that, and it's a good start to our season. We know we got really good race cars. We know how well all of us work together, and myself and Adam Stevens, we can and should and will win plenty of these open races. So,
do we have any additional questions for Kyle? All right, Kyle, thank you for joining us today. Good luck next week. We're going to continue with our post-race press conferences for today's Daytona 500. We are now joined by our second-place finisher, Martin Truex Jr., who's the driver of the number 78 Bass Pro Shops Tracker Boats Toyota. Martin, why don't you just take a step through that final lap there?
Finished second. It was a great day for our team. It was our first run in a Toyota, having Bass Pro Shops Tracker Boats back on board. They've been such a big supporter of my career, and just really proud of the run we had today. Really proud of how we worked together with the JGR guys, and that was important for us to kick off the year and try to start to kind of form that relationship and show those guys that they could trust us, that we're going to be a strong part of their team. And it was really amazing what we were able to do all day and really just control the race the way we did. So first off, I've got to thank all those guys for allowing us to be a part of their team, and especially the drivers today for working so well together and letting me be a part of that. You know, the last lap we were in great position behind Matt. Felt like if Matt would have stayed in front of us, maybe we could have, maybe he would have probably held off Denny. He went up to try to block his run, and Denny, cut inside, made him 3 wide, and then, just side drafted me off of turn 4 all the way to the line, and I felt like I had enough momentum to keep him behind me, and I did all the way up until, that last couple feet, and he just shot out, that last couple inches on me right before the line. So, wish I would have, crowded him up the track a little bit more late down the front stretch, but those are split-second decisions, and he came out on the right end of it today. But like I said, proud of our effort, and excited to start out the season this way. It's been a tough week down here. Our guys have worked really, really hard, and I thought our backup car was probably the best car we had. So in a way, it was a blessing to get in that wreck the other day.
All right, we're going to open it up for questions from Martin. Please raise your hand, and we'll get a wireless microphone to you. Please state your name and affiliation. We'll start up front here with Jay, and then go to Lewis.
Jay Busby, Yahoo Sports. Martin, obviously Denny was the X factor there. Did you have a plan in mind for Matt Kenseth? What did you have in mind for what you were going to do with him if Denny hadn't jumped into the picture?
I was kind of content to stay where I was till off of 4, just because, I wasn't sure who was going to be on that outside line, and I knew I had Kyle behind me, and they got outside of Kyle off of turn 2 pretty early, and so it was like I either jump in front of. At that time, it was Harvick out there, and I either jump in front of him or stay with Matt and Kyle, which we'd worked together so well all day. I felt like I needed to stay in line at least till the front straightaway, and that was going to be my plan. So, I feel like the move that Matt made is what gave me a chance of winning the race. I don't think that I was in a position to make a move because Kyle was behind me, and I think he was planning on staying with me. And so I couldn't just shoot out before turn 4 without those guys jumping all over us. And it just, Denny was kind of in a good spot where there was guys coming behind him that were already on the outside. They weren't teammates. And he was the first guy that could kind of jump in front of him and get that momentum. So, by the time they got to us, we were just kind of trying to get away from them still.
We'll go to Lewis and back over here, and then to Al.
To your left. Lewis, Frank Reuters. You touched on this in your explanation about a backup car. It's kind of ironic that yours and Matt's backup car performed so well. How much work, did Cole and your guys put in to get that car ready for the race?
Well, quite a bit. I think most of the work was done back in the off season. They built 4 cars. The car we ran, the Unlimited, was the worst car that we felt like we had because you typically. You're probably going to junk that one, right? So we thought our best car was the car we had as our primary, but this car was really close. They worked really hard this season to make this one, this off season, to make sure we had 2 really good cars, and they worked a lot of time to get this one as good as what the primary was. And Cole said he thought it was really, really close. It was just a tiny bit off of the other one. But sometimes you have cars that you think are not quite as good, and they end up racing better. So I was really happy with our car today. I thought it was really strong, and for sure I thought it was stronger than what we had Thursday night. But, the race was a lot different today than Thursday night as well, and handling was a big concern. There was a lot of guys had their hands full, and we worked hard on our handling today. We were off a bit at the start, worked on it the first few stops and got where it was pretty dang good, and then really didn't do anything. So handling come into play. It was a different type of race than those night races, and our car was just really good today.
Martin over here, GregEngleExaminer.com. Congrats on second place. But I know I'm sure that as well as you did last year, and as well as you guys were doing last year, the switch in the offseason probably had to have a little bit of nervousness to it. How did that feel coming into this? Did you feel you were going to be as strong as you were last year with the Toyota? Did you think there was maybe going to be a learning curve? And now you've kind of proven to yourself and everybody else that there is no learning curve. You're right back where you started from.
Well, I don't know. I mean, this is one race. This is Daytona. It's a speedway, plate track. Everyone's done a great job. Our guys have really had a tall order this winter to switch everything over and start off with new chassis and new bodies and new suspension components. I mean, everything under these race cars that we have are new to us. So, first off, this is just one race. But feeling and seeing that teamwork that we've had throughout the offseason with JGR and how much they've supported us and really been a part of this changeover and made sure we had all that we needed and we were doing things right and really guiding us through it. And then, for them to work with us the way they have throughout this week at the racetrack, and then especially today for me personally, the drivers. We had a plan going into the race. We stuck to it. And really controlled the whole entire race. So it was great for me to show those guys that, hey, we can show them they can trust me to be part of their team. We're going to do everything we can to help them, make them better. And honestly, it was important just to kick that relationship off right and show them what we're capable of. So it was a great day for that. Wish we could have won, obviously, but just going to have to watch that on the highlight reel for the rest of my career, I suppose, the rest of my life, because I remember when it happened to Mark Martin. Poor guy, been so close here so many times, and they still show that highlight. The picture of that race is in the tunnel when you come in, in turn one, and I have a feeling I'm going to have to see that same thing for a long time. So it hurts a little bit, but a lot to be proud of for sure.
We're going to go to Al, then go back upstairs, and then go to Dustin and Mark.
Martin, Al Pierce. Al Pierce at Auto Week over here. I know it's no consolation, and I'm not trying to say it is, but 90% of the points that will be earned toward the championship will be run at tracks not like this one at all.
Sure.
Are you excited and optimistic, as most drivers are, about going to Atlanta and Las Vegas and places where this kind of stuff is a little bit more predictable?
Absolutely. And to add to that, it's always really nice when you come out of this race with, a good day, because you start off with that momentum. You're not, 30 points behind. You don't have to build another race car. So there's a lot of things that are positive about starting the season off right. And obviously we're looking forward to Atlanta, absolutely. I think it's going to be an incredible race. Lower downforce on the race cars than last year. I think the cars are going to be a real handful. It's going to be exciting, and I'm looking forward, honestly, to just, kicking off that part of the season and getting to work and seeing how our cars are and where we stack up to the competition, and then, kind of get to work on what we need to do to compete for wins and try to get back to, where we were last year. So I'm really looking forward to it. The anticipation is high, and be going in there with a little bit of momentum is always a good feeling.
We're going to go upstairs for 2 questions, and then we'll go to Dustin, Mark, and Marty.
Bruce Martin with Speed Sport Magazine and Autosport. 2 questions real quick. When Matt pulled out to try to block Denny, were you surprised that he did that? And the second question is, when you lose it by 4 inches, would you prefer to get beat by a half a lap? Because that's going to take a while to get over.
Thanks. You'd rather get beat by a few feet than 4 inches, absolutely. But at the same time, like I said, with where we were in position on the racetrack, I felt like Matt moving up to block that run, it gave us an opportunity to win. Without that, we weren't going to have that opportunity. Because like I said, I was really planning on trying to push Matt Till off of 4. That was I thought the best opportunity we had, and the 11 came with a big run, and Matt tried to block him, and if he had have blocked him and Denny didn't turn back inside of him, without a doubt in my mind, we would have won that race, because the 11 had a lot of speed on the 20 when he went to make that block. That's why he made it 3 wide and passed him, because he's like, if I hit him, we're done. So I feel like we were in a really good position just doing what we did, and just circumstances didn't work out quite as well as they should have. I could have done a little bit different coming to the line. I felt like I should have, kind of run Denny up the track a little bit, but I didn't. So, it is what it is.
And did you have a second question upstairs in the press box?
Chris Knight, catchfence.com. Martin, on Friday night, your brother finished second in the truck race, and then you finished second here today. Not wins, but overall, big weekend for the family and a good start to the season for you both.
Yeah, absolutely. Really proud of him for what he's done, and he's had a rough go of racing the last couple of years, trying to get a solid opportunity. And these days with with it being hard to find funding, and he's been kind of shunned by a lot of teams that he's drove for and done a good job for because he couldn't find that backing. So it was great to see him, just persevere through those times and find a truck to drive. I think 2 weeks ago they put it together. So it was great to see him back, and excited about the opportunity, and obviously he did a great job. So that was really fun to watch, and I'm sure I was more nervous than the other night than he was today watching me. But it's great to see him back at the track, and he's going to hopefully run the full season in that truck, and hopefully he'll do a great job, and they'll put together some good results, and he can kind of get his career back on track because he's a great driver, and it's a shame that he's had to kind of go through the things he has and not be able to find a home.
We're going to go Dustin, Mark, Marty, and then Kelly.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Martin, obviously it's the last lap, so there's going to be a big run, but was it surprising what kind of a run that came from that top line? And secondly, when you leave here, I'm sure you're going to go back and watch the video of the last lap, or at some point you will.
I already seen it.
What did you look for? What were you trying to see? What did you want to see to kind of see?
I just want to see how much I got beat by. I mean, honestly, I don't know that I could have done anything better and to have a better chance of winning it. The 20 tried to block the 11 and got wrecked because he didn't have the momentum. So we were in the right spot. We made the right moves. Staying low when the 20 went high, I thought was my best chance to win, and it turned out that it was because we almost did. So you can second guess all day long. I mean, I think the only thing I should have done different was been a little more aggressive coming to the line, holding Denny up the racetrack. That last split second when he pulled off of my door, that was it. It just gave him that couple inches to beat me to the line. And if I had been rubbing him up the track a little harder earlier on, I think we would have been okay. But it's hard to make those decisions. I felt like I had the momentum, and I did until those last couple feet. So, live and learn. I think if I get in this position again, I'll do it a little bit differently. It's the first time I've ever been in that spot. So, I think that we'll have a lot more opportunities to win races this year with race cars like that, and looking forward to getting better at taking advantage of them.
Go to Mark next.
Mark Long with AP. You already talked about this a little bit, but do you think you'll be able to flush it from this point on, or do you think you're going to sit here all night, thinking about what you should have done? And
I'm fine. I'm proud of what we did. Beats the hell out of what we did earlier in the week. Getting crashed every race on the last lap in the last in turn one. So. It's my best finish ever in this race, and it's probably one of the strongest runs I've ever had at a restrictor plate track throughout the entire day. And I'm proud of what we did. So, like I said, it was a big day for us for a lot of reasons. First time in a Toyota for Furniture Row, and Bass Pro Shops on board again. For the first time in a long time, and everybody's excited. Everybody was extremely happy, and sometimes you just come up a little bit short, but we're going to keep fighting, and we'll come to Atlanta and try to win again. I knew it was close. I knew it was really close. I didn't think either way. I just said, damn, that was close. I mean, that was the only thing I could think of. Tried to look up the big screen, as you always do. You're rolling past start-finish line, and my spotter was going absolutely ballistic on the radio, screaming, so I couldn't even tell what the heck was going on, and just tried to do the best I could to beat him in the line and just come up a bit short.
Go to Marty.
Marty Smith, ESPN. I wonder how much perspective has to do with your response here. That piece you did with Players Tribune was just tremendous. And I wonder how that new life perspective that you have with everything you've had to manage with Sherry and she's had to manage helps you manage this kind of moment.
I'm sure it's a big part of it. I think, 2 years ago I would have been sitting here with a sourpuss on my face. Today I'm pretty happy. Today was a great day. We all want to win. This is competition. I'd be lying if I said I didn't want to win. But I realize that the position I'm in and the opportunities I'm going to have this year, I'm going to have a lot more opportunities to win races. And I feel like we did everything we could, everything right today to put ourselves in position to win. And sometimes things go your way, sometimes they don't. But I'm proud of what we did today, and I'm just ecstatic to have the race team I have, and to have my life going the way it is, and just I got it all right now, and I'm having fun, and that's what it's all about. So we're going to go, we're going to race hard at Atlanta and feel like we can go there and do the same thing again and have a shot at winning. And we're going to have a lot of opportunities to win this year, and I'm just excited about that, and thankful for the opportunities.
We're going to go to Kelly, Doug, Holly, and then we'll finish up in the press box.
Kelly Crandall from PopularSpeed.com. Martin, you mentioned earlier the importance of wanting to work with the Gibbs drivers to show that you could be trusted. Was that something you talked to them about working with them, or did you just get in the race and figure if you got by them, you would stick with them?
I mean, we kind of had a plan that we wanted to get together, and when we ran in practice in a line, we were really fast, and we felt like if we could ever get lined up, we could control the race, pull away from the field, kind of stay out of the big part of the pack where we didn't want to be in the danger zone. So we kind of had an idea of how we wanted to do it, but you never know until you get out there, and it was just cool to see the teamwork and everybody, the way we all were able to work together. And like I said, those guys, we've raced together and been competitors for a long, long time. And for them to welcome us in as a group into their way of racing and, part of their team, that quickly and trust us was a huge deal, I thought. And so I was, committed to do whatever it took to help those guys all day long.
We'll go to Doug and then to Holly.
Martin, Doug Turnbull, WSB Radio Atlanta. This may sound like a superficial question, but was there ever any point during the weekend or all of Speed Weeks where your spotter or anybody on the team or even you got yours and the 14 mixed up? Because you've had a black 78 for the last, for you, I guess, 3 seasons, for the team much longer. Was it kind of strange, or was there ever a dicey moment for your spotter? Because there was a point, I think at the finish actually, where I thought Vickers was side by side with Hamlin there at the end.
No, actually we didn't. We never had an issue with it. So spotter Clayton Hughes did an awesome job all day and obviously all week to keep those those two separated. We weren't around each other really quite often. I think there was only one point in time this whole race where we were kind of next to each other for a few laps. But we were far apart most of the day, and the guys did a good job of that. Obviously, my spotter's done an awesome job, and we keep getting more comfortable with each other as we work together. This is our 3rd year together, and he's getting to be really good at the restrictor plate stuff. So I think that's a big part of it, and he was just focused on our car all day and never had to worry about looking around.
Go ahead, Holly.
Holly Kane, NASCAR.com. You kind of alluded to this in the other question, but was there a time where you thought you had won the race?
I honestly never thought I won. I just knew it was really close. When you get in those positions, you don't want to get all jacked up and excited like, yeah, I got him, I won, until you actually know, because it's a bit of a letdown when you don't. So, you never want to jump to conclusions in those deals.
We have time for one final question from Martin. In the back.
Donna Beth Wellenman, Benicia Herald. I heard some drivers report some interesting aerodynamics in turn 3 and 4, not including or in addition to the spinouts we had out there. Did you experience anything different on the track than you felt before?
Yeah, I thought the track has definitely given up a lot of grip. I thought today handling was way more important than it was last year in this race, and certainly a lot more important than it was Thursday night in our qualifying races. So it was awesome that it was warm today, and that kind of came into play. I think that Daytona's kind of getting back to what it used to be, which is going to be a lot of fun when it keeps losing grip, and we can soften the tires up a little bit, and tire wear becomes an issue, and just all out handling. It's fun when the cars slide around and you got to try to hang it wide open all day long, and you're holding on. So it's definitely a lot more exciting and more fun to race that way. And I thought this was a huge difference from how the track had been all week long.
All right, Martin, thanks for joining us this evening, and good luck next week in
it.
Atlanta.
Thank you.